Well, good morning, people. Bit of a gloomy one this morning. Lots of clouds, but I'm half packed away. Just gonna have a coffee, have some breakfast, which is just porridge, and then pack my tent away. All my sleeping stuff is all packed, so not long. But I ain't got to worry really, because I've checked my phone, and one of the weather apps on my phone tells me at 7 o'clock it's going to be bright and sunny. Well, I suppose miracles do happen. Yeah, I didn't have that comfortable a night last night. I kept on sort of switching from side to side, and I found the culprit this morning. It was a bloody great big stone right in the middle of my back. So yeah, note to self, must check where I lay my sleeping pad in future. But other than that, we've had a little bit of rain, not much, nothing heavy. It's in the air at the moment, but yeah, 8 miles to do today, up to Great Yarmouth station, then train back to Norwich, and then train from Norwich to home. So all good. Right, okay, I'll bring you back later. Well, people, all ready for the off. About the same time as yesterday, just after 7. As you can see, nice dry patch is the only thing I've left. And I think with the weather today, that will soon get wet. Yeah, I think that's the offending article down there. Piece of sheep's poo sticking in my bloody back all night long. Oh well. Okay. Ever onwards, get up onto this bank. Get these last few miles out of the way. There's the river. Very quiet this morning. It is only just gone 7 o'clock, so don't expect it to be too noisy. Well, I must admit, yesterday morning there were boats on on the go from about 5 o'clock in the morning. So hopefully, as long as the path stays like this, I won't get soaking wet feet like I did yesterday. That didn't help my feet a lot, because my feet were wet all day long. I did have spare socks, which I put clean socks on this morning, but I couldn't see the point of putting my nice dry socks into my wet shoes. So I just carried on, but it did affect my feet, I must admit. There we go, it's one of the many windmills on this route now. There's a hell of a lot more on this. Well, yesterday and today there's going to be quite a few, and the signpost there telling me I have 7 miles to go. So not far, but it's probably one of the most remote sections on the whole route around Braden Water, which is an RSPB site. Yep. I can't think of the name of this at the moment. I will put it on the screen when I look it up, but I do know it's a grade 2 listed building, as is that building there. So yeah, and the house that we've just passed is called 7 Mile House, presumably because it's 7 miles to Great Yarmouth. Yeah. there's an immense beauty in the peace and quiet of nature. As I say, we're soon be coming into a very large conurbation called Great Yarmouth, but you know, as you know, we're not that far away from it. It's just peaceful, absolutely wonderful. Yeah, the more as I've walked around here, I'm pleased I stopped where I did, because there ain't a lot of spaces that I could have pitched up. Possibly a little bit further around, but then there's a possibility of those. Not sure if that's a ditch there. It looks like it possibly is a ditch, but yeah, cows obviously sort of like wander on over here. So yeah, so I think I made the right choice. And I don't know if you can see that, it's not that far away, but GoPro's zoom facilities, I've always said, are crap. Yeah, one derelict. You probably won't call it a windmill, it's probably like a wind pump as such, because I think they used to use it to pump the water out of the river onto the fields, or pump the water off the fields into the river so they could use arable land. One way or the other, one of those would be right. Okay, ever onwards. I've never seen so many snails and slugs on a path. I'm doing my best not to tread on them, but every now and again, you know, you hear this crunch underfoot and you know exactly what you've done, but there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. There's absolutely thousands of them. So, as I say, I'm doing my best. Oh, it's not always good enough. Okay. Yeah, one more of the very many disused windmills along here. We can't see it too well, but the this little group of buildings I'm coming up to is the famous Burney Arms. Used to be, and don't know whether it still is, that the only way you could get to this was by river. For many years it used to be a favourite stop on the river because it was a pub, so especially for, I mean, when I've holidayed on the Broads before now, I've stopped there many times, and I think it, going back into the days of the wherries, it was a popular stop for the wherrymen. I think it's, this particular one is at the 32-mile junction on their way, so there's only after this 5 miles left to go, and then after the Burney Arms you've got Braden Water, which is quite a large expanse of tidal open water. You have to be very careful when you come across it, follow the channel, because the mud flats have caught many a boat, especially in mist and fog, which does occur here from time to time. So yes, the Burney Arms windmill. Now we're joining another footpath here. This is called the Weaver's Way, which starts at Great Yarmouth, makes its way to the coast, I believe. So yeah, I think that one's for another day. Got 5 more miles to Great Yarmouth. just starting to rain, which is good. Yeah, as I say, they seem to be doing a bit of work to it. There's a lot of Harris fence around it, but yeah, how you can say that's one of the best preserved, I really don't know. That's certain it's not even working. Maybe it will be the best preserved. Mind you, I've never seen one with its wheel, so maybe that's the reason why. So there's your water pump, which is what it's designed to do. As I say, either pump water from the river or pump water from the land into the river. Okay, next stop, well, won't stop, but the next bit is the Burney Arms Inn. So and then from there it's all around Braden Water. These are the last moorings before you get to Braden Water. So during the height of summer they tend to be a bit popular because a lot of boats have to judge the tide because the bridge at Great Yarmouth is quite low. So you need to go through that at a low tide, otherwise you won't, well, a lot of these boats won't go through. Yeah, this is, or used to be, the Burney Arms Inn. Looks like it's closed as a pub now. It says private. And also, as there's vehicles here, there's obviously a way of getting here by road or by track. Okay, so we now start on the stretch around Braden Water. Just up here is where the River Waverley meets the River Yare. That's just 5 more miles to go. A little bit less. And guess what? I have soaking wet feet again. Again, it's lovely and quiet. If I can quote the title of a book that I have read and read many times over, called The Bliss of Solitude. And I think sometimes that works. Someone said to me once about, they said, well, don't you mind walking on your own? I said, no, I quite like my own company. They said, yeah, I suppose it gives you time to think. And to be quite honest with you, I don't think. Any of my troubles that I might have seem to disappear when I'm walking, and especially in areas like this. Just concentrate on the task ahead, which is walking. I enjoy the scenery, and yeah, I don't really think about what's going to happen tomorrow, Can't really think about what's going to happen next week. You know, it's quite nice really. Very expensive bread and water. Great Yarmouth in the distance there. And we've got a path goes all the way around. I don't know if you can see that mill, but the mill goes past the mill and then over in that general direction is the station. Around about 4 miles to go. I'm going to take it easy, 4 easy miles. There's a hell of a lot of bird life on these mud, especially on these mud flats. I was hoping to see some possibility of seeing some otters, because I know there's otters in this area, but I've seen very little wildlife as such on my walk. I saw one deer that shot out of the reeds and sort of ran across the field in front of me, but it was too quick for me to get the camera out. Other than that, it's just been birds. One dead hare on the road, and that's about it really. Oh well, we're nearing the end, but it's been a good walk. Okay, the building we're coming up to here is the locked gates drainage mill. Still making our way around Braden Water. I just passed one signpost. It just said there's 3.5 miles to Great Yarmouth. As I say, this last section I'm taking nice and easy because I'm just taking in all the bird life. There's a fair, mainly curlews, just on the mud flats. As I say, ever onwards. Still going around the expensive rain water. Yeah, a lot more boat traffic now. Distance, not too far to go. Just follow this headland round, all the way around. See the church in the distance. Well, we're not going to the church, we're stopping just before there. Yeah, that bridge that's in the far distance, that's what we're heading for. So we'll go under that, and then the railway station is the other side. So, a couple more miles. Path's a little bit better now. Feet starting to still feel wet. It's starting to dry out a little bit. They're not getting wetter, let's put it that way. So yeah, ever onwards. Yeah, I always think these walks are a bit of a tease really. I know you probably can't see it, but just over there in the distance is the bridge. You've got to walk under that bridge and then that's where the station is. So not that far, but to get there you got to walk all the way around. And this whole walk has been a little bit like that. I remember on the first night thinking, right, I want to get to Cantley Sugar Works, and I could see it for absolutely ages, but because I'm following the course of the river, yeah, it meanders back and forth. It took me a hell of a lot longer than I expected to get there. And also when I come away from Cantley Sugar Factory, it seemed to be that it was taking absolutely ages to sort of get away from it. But yeah, overall I've been quite happy with the walk. I've enjoyed it. This last section seems to have taken a little bit longer, but then I've been stopping to take a few pictures of the birds and just admire the panorama view. So yeah, okay, well, let's get these last few miles done. Well, it's probably less than 2 miles now. So anyway, less talking, more walking. Ever onwards. Right, just come through this gate. Right, and why don't they make them a little bit bigger? I haven't got a massive, great big pack on, and I just couldn't get through there. I had to climb up a couple of rungs on the gate, on the fence around it, to actually get through. I just don't understand why they just can't make it a little bit wider. Right, well, we now come up against the very busy and noisy A47. Unfortunately, that's going to be with me now all the way, because now we're going to walk along this little stretch here, and so we finish. Yeah, so this is probably going to be the worst bit. Okay, people, ever onwards. Probably my last signpost telling me the Wherrymans Way goes this way. Wherrymans Way doesn't tell you how long it is, but Weaver's Way tells you it's half a mile to Great Yarmouth. So that's it, my last final half mile. To be honest with you, right, that's probably been the worst mile of the section, because literally you're by the edge of, well, not right by the edge, but walking along by the side of the A47, and you've got that noise in your ear all the time. You've got the beauty of Braden Water on your right, and the horrible A47 on your left. So but you can't have it both ways. So we're just heading up to this bridge. We go under the bridge, and the station's literally just the other side. So not far to go, ever onwards. Okay, my last look at Braden Water. As we're now just about to go under this road bridge, and the station is just over there. So okay, certainly not far left to go now. I always tell when you're getting nearer civilization because of the McDonald's cartons and wrappers that are lying around. You just happen to know that there's got to be a McDonald's over there, don't you? Okay, nearly done. People, end of the trail, Great Yarmouth station. People, I thought I'd just finish the video here. I'm back on home turf. Out walking the dog. Yeah, just a quick reflection on the walk. The Wherrymans Way, 37 miles, reasonably easy walking really. I used the guidebook written by Joe Jackson, and I'll include a photograph of it now. Yeah, quite a good guidebook. In places it was a bit, the details were a bit sketchy, but overall it was quite a good book. You definitely need to use a map in conjunction with it, but other than that, I mean, you should never really do something like that without at least a decent map in your bag, because you can, lots of things that can go wrong with it. Yeah, so everything, I quite was happy with my kit. There was a few things I didn't use, but if you look at weights, if I took them out, I wouldn't have saved myself that much. There was a couple of things I probably did wrong. I probably should have. I didn't need to bring food with me, really. And I know that sounds really strange, but there are so many pubs on the route. You go through quite a few villages, so there's the chance of. I mean, I ate in a pub every day, and the only food that I ate that I carried was just a few snacks. I seem to arrive at villages at the right time and manage to get sort of a cup of tea and a bacon roll or something like that, sort of mid-morning. So everything was like that was pretty good. So probably in hindsight, I didn't need to bring any food. So I brought that back with me, obviously. The other thing that I did wrong, ground was hard to put me tent pegs in of a night time, and foolishly I pressed them in with the ball of my foot, which caused me a few problems. Not anything that stopped me from walking, but yeah, it just caused me a few problems. Yeah, and the only other thing really is I'm using Merrell's. I'll show them. So I've got a new pair, if you can see it. I've got a new pair of Merrells that I'm wearing now, because the older pair that I wore during the walk, they got extremely wet, and it wasn't through rain, it was purely through the dew on the grass first thing in the morning. So I think if I'm gonna continue wearing sort of like trekking shoes, I need to invest in a pair of waterproof trekking shoes, because my feet was wet, my socks got wet, so both days I probably was walking for the majority of the day with wet feet, and that in itself doesn't do your feet any good. Yeah, so invest in a pair of waterproof shoes. Now, I haven't done anything like this for years. When I was a young man was the last time I'd done any backpacking. So the beauty thing about this is the fact that yeah, it proved to me that everything was good. Okay, I know it's only sort of like 2.5 days, but even so, it's one thing doing a 15-mile hike and then resting for a week and doing it again, but when you do a 15-mile hike, then get up the next day and have to do it again, and then get up the next day and have to do it again, that's when it starts showing. And my legs are fine. The only problems I've got is my feet. One where I was pressing the tent pegs in, and the other one where I think my toes got a little bit wet and the socks were crinkled up a little bit. And like a fool, I just carried on, because I didn't have that far to go today, but I must admit it felt like, felt quite bad towards the end. Yeah, so over and all, good hike, well worth doing if you're local to this area. And the beauty of it is that if you can get a train to Norwich, you just walk from Norwich to Great Yarmouth. It starts at Norwich station, ends at Great Yarmouth station. Good service from Great Yarmouth to Norwich, and then you just get the train back home, which is what I did. So transport links are excellent. So well worth giving it a go if you're into this sort of thing. And I'll leave it there, because Bryson here is eager for me to carry on walking and kick his ball for him. So thanks for watching if you watched this far, and I'll see you again soon.